Peace, welcome to my 9-month and 25-day check-in with No Nicotine. In today's video, I'm going to be discussing what I've noticed along this journey with No Nicotine. And for those of you that don't know, I quit nicotine 9 months and almost 10 months ago. So I'm coming up on that 10-month milestone, which is really exciting, coming up on that 10-month check-in. And today I'm going to be discussing what I've noticed so far. So mentally, I've noticed that, for example, today, if I go back and I remember, I mentally was having the strength to overcome almost everything that came my way today. And that's because something that I've learned throughout this journey of not having nicotine is that you're gonna have highs and lows regardless. You're gonna have stuff, you're gonna have challenges in life regardless. And the only thing is that nicotine can help you with is making all that stuff feel easy and making it feel like it just breezes by. And mentally that means not necessarily being present as mentally as present as you think you should be, or just not really mentally stimulated as you should. And that's something that I've learned, is that anytime I apply my mental state of being and I'm fully stimulating my mental ability, I'm able to create, I'm able to do things that I wasn't able to do, and I'm able to harness the mental power to effectively do things that I want to do that are right by myself. And so that's mentally what I've realized, is that mentally you got to push yourself regardless of what's happening right now. You got to be there to mentally remind yourself that the short amount of time that you do suffering, and even long amount of time that you suffer, you're going to get out of that, and you're always going to be able to get into a place where you're experiencing mental freedom. And regardless of what you see physically, what's going on spiritually, and how you feel emotionally, you can mentally always know that you have that mind power to always see everything through, regardless of if you are either doubtful or whatnot. As long as you're harnessing your mental power, that's one thing that I've learned, is that, and what I've realized is that it's very powerful right there. The mental realm is very powerful, and it is truly the mental state of being that is in charge of mostly controlling most of the body. And mentally, I've learned to treat my mind as, the house that I would want to live in myself. I wouldn't want to live in a toxic house or a toxic environment. So I had to clear out things that were in there that were toxic. And I've learned to now continuously do that, continuously clear out the toxic garbage that you have in your mind or in your mental state of being, so that you can continue to experience some bliss, some form of mental stability, mental balance, and mental clairvoyance. What have I noticed physically? Well, after quitting nicotine, physically I've noticed that my want to kind of put on a certain image for others has more or less disappeared. And with anything can come what society believes about it, and the energy that's placed upon you by society if you partake in that activity. For example, vaping, or for example, smoking nicotine, or using nicotine in general. Physically detached from that, because if you are going to have these actions, then you may be fitting in. You may be trying to fit in physically. So maybe peer pressure or whatnot, or just you do it because you fit in, not because that was the sole purpose, but that could have been part of the reason why that you did what you did. And if that is true, then that must dissolve once you stop using. The fact that you wanted to supposedly act cool, or if any case that you resonate with that, you're going to, like I said, physically not care as much about what other people think about your physical appearance, or about trying to put on this persona that's actually not you, or that's something that you're always happy or whatnot, or everything's perfect in your life or whatnot like that. But that's just a front that you can put, that people can put on, and not even wanting to have anything like that definitely is made clear through my journey of quitting nicotine. It'll be interesting how this plays out, and just how everything plays out along this journey, and what's actually gained from this. And interestingly enough, physically, I have more of a drive to want to benefit my health, whereas before I cared about it a little bit. I still worked out a little bit when I was addicted to nicotine. Of course, I had forced workouts, not forced, but I partake in extracurricular activities that had workouts in high school. I played football, and I still was vaping and stuff like that. And I honestly want to say that I had thought to quit one year just related to practice, and I thought, I was like, I'm so addicted, I think that it would benefit me at this point. And I genuinely thought that it was benefiting me because I was allowed to focus on the plays. I was able to make what I thought was delusional thinking, but better decisions, or just more snappier, more connected and stuff like that. But turns out, there's no really reason why it would be helping me. And of course, I was using it as the mental effects that it had during those times. But just thinking back, I wanted to be so invested into 100% my body and my health and everything that has to do with that, like my fitness. So for the longest time, and then I did quit nicotine, and now I'm just extremely fixated on that, and I feel like it's so much more important to me now that I'm not doing the activity that I thought was most degrading to my health. So that for sure helps. Mentally, well, I already did mentally, but spiritually, what have I noticed after quitting nicotine? Like I've talked about before, is the experiencing of spiritual freedom that we all want to experience, right? And it's more or less having the faith in yourself, that you're not putting that faith in anything else. You're not saying, oh, this is what I want to do. I want to do this, and then this is gonna be my holy grail for me and stuff like that. Versus, no, I'm going to take back my power and my control over this, and I am my own creator. And at the end of the day, it's realizing to have faith in yourself and not faith in things that you don't even have proof of. And the most thing that I found was interesting about this was being able to set yourself on a spiritual path after implementing moderation and or abstaining from whatever it may be, whatever substance you may use. And when it came to doing the moderation, it is a very interesting thing that you're able to experience. I'm trying to come up with spiritually what it may be, as far as the spiritual state of being. You feel as if you are experiencing the world again with a fresh set of eyes, almost, with a new filter on, and it's a filter that is filtered specifically through the truth, right? There's no more delusion. There's no more offering to this thing that constantly is taking your power. There's no more feeling of losing a battle that you think you can never win, because truly you never if you say that you're in a battle with addiction, you'll never win, because addiction never has a stop. It never ends. It only ends when you decide to end it. So yeah, spiritually, it's coming out with that spiritual sense of freedom and that spiritual ability and that spiritual strength to stay on a journey in a spiritual path that is right for you and right by you. And emotionally, what have I noticed by quitting nicotine? I've noticed that with the emotional state of being, becoming more responsible for feeling in the present moment and not escaping emotions, has turned into more maturity, emotional maturity, and the ability to now even stay stronger and to process emotion, and deep emotion at that, in a more positive and a more developed and a more experienced way. Whereas previously you may fall into a rut with a substance and you may tie that into your recovery when it comes to your bouncing back after severe emotions or negative emotions. Whereas without the nicotine, it's as if you can deal in instantaneously be able to correct your emotional state of being, and to also have control of your emotional state of being, thus leading to emotional balance and allowing you to exist much more flawlessly in the rest of your states of being. It's about another thing that I have learned about the emotional state of being after quitting nicotine has had to have been, riding that good feeling, riding that good emotion that you have and just flowing it through, right? Keep it riding just like a wave. And if that's something that you bring with you and you carry with you, you can absolutely turn that into momentum, absolutely turn it into, yes, like I said, momentum and motivation as well, there's the word, for yourself. And then as well, the ability to be a example and to always set an example, because if you're going to set an example, and that's what you're going to be, a leader. If you're going to try to be a leader, you're going to have to set an example. And what example are you setting? You always have to ask yourself, what example are you setting? And when it comes to setting examples, you have to be emotionally mature. You have to be the bigger being. You have to, for lack of a better term, you have to take the upper hand in all sorts of situations, to not allow things to play out, and to not allow things to play out in ways that are detrimental to all parties involved. And that's what's up to the responsibility of each. And that's what I believe that I've learned emotionally. I believe that with moderation, you can balance your emotions, but I believe that as soon as you do go back to the substance, you will have to deal with the emotional, physical, spiritual, and mental states of being, of making that choice and how it will affect these states of being. But that's up for you to weather that storm, and you are strong enough to partake in whatever is right for you to partake in. As well as emotionally, what have I learned from quitting nicotine is to know when, when have your emotions gotten the best of you? When have you overreacted, or not overreacted, but just reacted strongly, and then learning from that experience like that, right? And then channeling it into and transmuting it into power, into your craft, and into your mission, and into your purpose in life. So that's going to be it for the 9-month and 25-day check-in with No Nicotine. Thank you, and peace.